So I can't remember how much of this problem we had done before, but I'll throw it up here. You guys remember factoring by grouping? Yeah. Okay, well, we'll just learn it. There's probably not a lot of problems on here that you have to do it, but it only works in a very specific instance. But we'll go ahead and do it. Okay, so yeah, sometimes grouping works with like four term polynomial. Sometimes it has to be set up very specifically. Basically, if it's written in order, it's you have to look. Can I take anything out of the first two, and can I take anything out of the second two? So what can I take out of the first two terms? And when I take an x squared out, what's left? Okay, what can I take out of the second two? 4. If this first term is a -4, it'll probably be better to take out a -4 if this one's negative. You don't. And what's left? X minus 5. Did I copy this wrong? Oh, yeah, I did. There we go. Now if I take out a -4, I get x plus 5. Okay, if this doesn't happen right here, it won't work. So it's got to be a very specific kind of problem. So I just took out stuff from the first two, and then separately I took out stuff from the second two. Okay, what this turns into is the outside stuff, x squared minus 4, goes in one parentheses, and the inside stuff, x plus 5, goes in the other. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, this is x plus 2x minus 2, right? Square minus square. So x is positive, -2, or -5. Easy peasy. We'll do another one when we go through the odds. Okay, this next one, we might have done one of these two way back. Okay, is this a quadratic equation? No. What is a quadratic equation? Yeah, it's got an x squared is the highest degree. Like one of these things. This is a quartic equation up here, because it's x to the 4th, but it's in quadratic form. So instead of like x squared x constant, it's x to the 4th x squared constant. And, well, it turns out you can factor it like it is quadratic. This also works with like x6, x cubed, and a constant, or whatever, or x to the 8th, x to the 4th, constant. If it follows this pattern, it's gonna work. You can. So if this was a quadratic equation, what would we do? Well, yeah. If it didn't factor, there are some. We could use quadratic formula, but it'd be a mess. It's a little more complicated. Yeah, so what goes into 2x to the 4th? 2x squared times what goes into -3? 1 and -3, right? So I want the thing to add up to -1. So if I put the 1 here, that would make it 2. And if I put the negative 3 here, that would be negative 3. 2 minus 3 is negative 1. Okay. Anyways, now how can I figure out what x squared is? Or x is, I mean. Okay, I think this came up earlier, and maybe I didn't do any on the odds because they didn't show up. Anyway. Neither of these is a square minus a square, but we want to solve both for x. So, you guys know how to solve this one? Now what do? Square root. What's the square root of negative 1? Okay, and I'll remind you again, if x squared equals 9, what does x equal? 3, but also negative 3 works, right? So when you do that square root trick, you just have to use a plus minus. Also this guy over here. So square root of that. Okay, well, might let your calculator do this. You're not supposed to leave square root of 2 in the denominator. Multiply the top and bottom by square root of 2, you get square root of 6 over 2. But also it's plus or minus. There was something else I was supposed to say. Yeah, maybe I should save that for tomorrow. We'll just get started and see if I have time for the last thing. I don't know, I kind of feel like this might be a day and a half assignment. Just kind of makes things messy, but we'll see how it goes. Alright, you guys ready? Okay, number 1. Here we go. Well, okay. It's more like example 1 or example 2. 2. It's that quadratic form, x4, x squared, constant. So, probably should be factorable. What am I going to put in the front of my parentheses? X squared times x squared. What am I going to put in the back of the parentheses? What multiplies into negative 12 that adds up to negative 4? Negative 6 times positive 2. Okay, so I need to solve both of these to make x 0, or make the factor 0, rather. Turn my volume down. Alright, so if I add the 6 over here, I get x squared equals 6. So what's x going to equal? Square root of 6. What did I do wrong? Alright, and then on this one, same thing. This one though, the 2 is negative. So what's x going to equal in this case? Plus or minus, what's the square root of negative 2? I squared 2. Okay, number 3 has how many terms? 4, so it's grouping. Now, if grouping does not work, there's another trick that can help you that can still work, but we might have to get to that tomorrow. Actually, I think we talked about it last year. You guys probably just forgot it though. It's kind of hard to remember. But in this section, you can probably bet this is going to be grouping. So do you guys remember what I said to do? What comes out of those 2 terms? It's called grouping because we're grouping the first 2 and the last 2 and doing stuff. X squared comes out, and then what's left? Alright, what can I take out of those 2? Yeah, does 12, yes. Does 12 go into 64? No, 12 times 5 is 60. What's the next biggest thing that goes into 12? 6. 6 times 2. 6 doesn't go. Next is 4. So yeah, we take since that middle term is a minus, we'll take a minus 4 out. So that would leave me with negative 12 divided by negative 4 is 3x. 64 divided by negative 4 is minus 16. Remember I said it's got to match that one. And then there's 2 sets of parentheses. You guys remember how I did this? Right, stuff on the outside goes in one set of parentheses, x squared minus 4. The inside stuff goes in the other. I'll point out why this works, but this is basically, if you FOIL these 2 together, you do x squared times both these, and minus 4 times both of these, and that's what's happening up here. X squared times those 2, minus 4 times those 2. It's like kind of reverse engineering the FOIL thing. Alright, anyways, what x values would make this factor 0? 2 or negative 2. If you add the 4, take square root plus or minus 2. What x value makes this factor 0? Right, positive 16/3. It's not an x squared, so we're just using the old tricks. Alright, what should I do first on number 5, do you guys think? Yeah, move the right side to the left side, so it's equal to 0. So when we factor it, everything lines up. By the way, looks like we're going to have a test on Friday. That's the plan. This chapter's almost done. Wait, I think that was the plan. Now I'm wondering if I was thinking of another class. Huh? Yeah.
We have to take it on Thursday. We're not going to be here on Friday. No, we don't have to take it on Thursday. We can take it on Monday.
Brain will be empty on Monday.
I'm going to be gone Thursday too. Oh, we can take it on Monday. Which quick that I have work has to be done before the term.
Are you flipping kidding me?
Sorry.
Oh, what's Thursday and Friday? Thursday's yearbook. What's Friday? Really? The first period? You're going to be gone?
Friday and Saturday. Well, we'll be back, but sometime.
I'll talk to Mariah.
We're
She'll,
driving
be,
at 9.
she'll let you guys stay for the fun. All right, so this is quadratic form, right? So two parentheses. What goes into 2x to the fourth? 2x squared times x squared. I might have to think a little bit on this one. What goes into negative 15, negative 3 and 5, or negative 5 and 3? Okay, we want, when we do outside inside of the FOIL, we want it to add up to 7. If I put the 5 with the 2, that gets me to 10. And then the minus 3 with the x squared gives me negative 3x squared. So 10 minus 3 is 7. So we want both these factors to equal 0. X squared equals negative 5, so x equals what? Come on, big money.
Plus or minus r.
There you go. You need glasses,
I wear contacts.
but not right now.
No, they're in.
You need a new prescription.
No.
You're like,
Well, it's because I can't see the actions of it
Okay.
thinking.
no, you're deep in meditation. All right. I feel like I did this one earlier. Is this the example maybe? 3 over 2. Yeah, that was the example. Okay, so the square root of 3 over 2, you have to multiply top and bottom by square root of 2, so you get square root of 6 over 2. All right, so on number 7, I need to bring the 12 over to the left, subtract it over, so I get x cubed plus 2x squared, 6x minus 12. So what kind of problem is this one? Grouping. What comes out of the first two? X squared. What's left if I divide those by x squared? X plus 2. What comes out of these two? Negative 6. If those were both pluses, I would just put a plus 6 right there, by the way. Alright, and then what's left? Negative 12 divided by negative 6. In the first set of parentheses goes the outside stuff. And the next set is the inside stuff. So, how do I make that equal to 0? Square root of 6 plus minus, or negative 2. subtract everything to the left. 10x cubed. Minus 6x squared needs to go next, put it in order, and then plus 5x and minus 3. Not only subtracted it to the left, I put it in order. Descending powers. Alright, so it's 4 terms, so it's grouping again. What goes into the first 2 terms? 2x squared. So if I divide that by 2x squared, 10 divided by 2 is 5. x3 divided by x squared is x. Minus 6 divided by 2 is 3. X squared divided by x squared is gone. What goes into the last 2 terms? Yeah, well, nothing besides 1. So I'm going to put a plus 1 there. And dividing out a 1 doesn't really do anything, so it stays 5x minus 3. So the outside stuff goes in one parentheses, the inside stuff goes in the other. So on this one it's x equals positive 3 over 5. On the next one way you can think of it is it's negative 1 over 2, but that's what x squared is equal to on this one, so it's a little bit different. And then you square root. So x equals plus or minus, it's negative, so I. Square root of 2 can't stay on the bottom, multiply the top and bottom by square root of 2. Alright, stop there for now. Try the evens.